Today I want to talk about China bashing in the foreign press. Now I want to point to one in particular, Fox News, because I'm going to talk about Fox News. It's really bad. Some people get their news off of the internet and they have internet news sources. Here are some American internet news sources. Notice also that you have Fox News. Now I want to talk about Fox News. It's especially bad. It's not just distorted. They frequently tell lies. But it's important because many Americans get their worldview from Fox News. Now in America we have some words. We have conservative. Conservative means 保守. Well, it should mean that. But over the years, conservative means different things to different people depending on what Fox News says it's supposed to mean. So over the past 25 years or so, the word conservative has come to mean somebody who's crazy. And we used to use the word liberal. A liberal person was somebody who was 开放的. The word liberal has been used by Fox News to come to mean anything that they don't agree with, which means bad. So let's get to Fox News. Now there's a woman on Fox News named Laura Ingraham. She has a show called The Angle. Laura Ingraham is basically crazy. When I refer to her, I usually don't use the B word, but there are a couple of women who I need to use the B word. Now what's the B word? That's B-I-T-C-H. Okay, can't say it. Chinese also have the B word. You know what I mean? I will explain that someday, maybe. Well, anyway, Laura Ingraham hates everybody. One of her recent shows is the 2022 Winter Olympics are going to be in Beijing. Laura Ingraham does not like China, and so she had a program on boycotting the Beijing Olympics in 2022. Now she uses some words. Now, when we listen to her, we want to listen to the words she uses. She refers to not just the communists, but the godless communists. Now, that means 无限论的共产党, 共产主义. If you hear those words in Chinese, yes, so. In American, many Americans are Christians. So, to many Americans, when they hear the word godless communists, it's sort of like talking about the devil, 魔鬼. So this is a very bad word. It may not sound bad if you translate it into English, but if you hear somebody say godless communist, it's really bad. But there's some other words, and it's the words are important. So Laura starts out by talking about indisputable facts. In this world, there are hardly any indisputable facts. There's usually a point of view. And she starts out with some indisputable facts, such as China is a brutal dictatorship. Well, I live in China. So far, I haven't found it very brutal. Anyway, people hear this, and if they've never been to China and they don't know anything about China, they get a very bad impression. They begin to hate China. And of course, since many Americans are Christians, if they tell you they have no freedom to worship or freedom to pray, and they'll put you in jail, that gets Christians upset, even though it's pretty much not true. So one of the things you will hear Laura say is globalists kowtow to China. That means 全球主义者向中国磕头. Now, the word globalist, I don't know what it means to Chinese, but Fox News has decided to tell Americans that it's bad. America is number one, and the rest of the world we don't want to globalize. It doesn't matter where you're from, you are going to globalize because we as a world are globalizing. Get used to it. But Fox News, they use words and they say globalist this, globalist that, and now they're saying globalists are kowtowing to China. Kowtow means 磕头, and that's the word we're going to talk about today. Okay, so today's Chinese word. In English we have the word kowtow means to be subservient to someone. It's been in English language for almost 200 years, and it comes from, or koto. This is koto. And in Cantonese, it comes through Cantonese, and the Cantonese, it was pronounced something, or the Americans figured it sounded like kowtow. So this word 磕头, let's explain the word 磕. Anytime in every word that you see a G, it is a person kneeling. And so, although this is not an ancient character, the logic is the person who is kneeling, and here you have a ko, probably a phonetic, but some people could say his head is on the ground. And of course, to, as we discussed earlier, this is the traditional character, and if you want the simplified character, you cut this off, you bring this down here, and this, and the top 2 dots. But we won't discuss that now. In the 1950s, when they simplified Chinese, there was another word, ko, written like this, which was simplified to this. This means to take off. And also, this is also simplified to this, ko, which means to take off. So the simplification, when they eliminated the et zi, this character became written like this character. Now there's another word, ketou. It's pronounced a bit differently. Koto, ketou, but it basically means the same thing. But this character means to bump or bump heads, and it has a stone on the side. That's the logic is that the stone probably hits somebody in the head, and it has a he here. The he and ke are pronounced similar. They used to be pronounced the same. So this is a phonetic. But let's ask where this phonetic comes from. This comes from an older character, which is a da, big, and a line, and a min. A min is a kind of a large pan. So we still can't see the logic here. But whenever you see a min and a line, it usually comes from xue, which means blood, which comes from a vat of blood. And then on the top, you have this. If we look at the seal character looks like this. So you can see there's a pan of blood and what appears to be a man standing on top. This is not really a man, it's a lid on the top, or at least you can perceive that it's a lid on top. So it means a box or something that is where you have a lid on top, a pan with a lid on top. And if we go back to the seal characters, we see this character here, a simplified pan or something underneath. So it's either a man standing over a pot, but most people think it's a lid on the pot. And sometimes in the seal character we will see it written like this with a mouth on the bottom. So sometimes what we see when we see a mouth in several characters, it's actually from a pot or some sort of container. Laura Ingram says globalists are kowtowing to China, and according to Fox News, globalists are bad people. And she will point out that the European Union is kowtowing to China, and Sleepy Joe, is it? Yeah, Sleepy Joe, Shui Wang. Shui Wang is kowtowing to China, which is bullshit. So that's where we get the word kowtow in this Laura Ingram expose. So I'm Uncle Hans. Hopefully you'll be with me next time as we discuss more about Chinese characters.